Hello you lovely lot! Welcome to a tutorial about using relief wallpaper as a collagraph, printing it with the help of the Gelli Plate and with etching ink, and transferring old newspaper texts with the gel plate and acrylics, later drawing over some areas and finally collaging a bit. In this part, I'll show you the printing and newspaper transferring process. The working out with colored pencils, fine liners and collage I will cover in part 2. The result is a piece very much like this one, which I unfortunately did not record. But first I want to say that I am using a newspaper transfer method that I have seen on Mark Yeates' channel, but I am using it slightly different here. I will put a link to his video in the info box. Check out his channel, he's really inspiring. Thank you, Mark, for being such an inspiration. The newspaper is a German sunny paper that everybody here knows, unfortunately. But you cannot print modern newspapers this way. This only works with the 60s newspapers, at least here in Germany. Mark said he used the British one from the 80s, but I checked all my older newspapers that I collect from the 50s through the 80s, and only this one worked. It is important that you roll out the etching ink thinly and evenly. Now putting the wallpaper face down onto the Gelli plate. Rub evenly in all areas, not too soft and not too hard. Now the etching ink is on the wallpaper to print directly with it. As you see here, quite some ink is left on the plate, which I will pick up later and use for a future project. Showing you some real time here so you can observe better. I put the printing paper here and lay the ink stained wallpaper face down on it carefully. You have to be really careful not to move the wallpaper or the printing paper. The wallpaper has a glossy surface and therefore might shift. As you can see, the wallpaper made a very even print. That is because the etching ink works so much better with fine patterns. No smearing, no blobs. It is quite light, and that's just what I wanted for this one. I am cleaning the wallpaper with some kitchen tissue, because I will still be working with it now. I am cutting out some leaves with an X-Acto knife. That is not very easy due to the wallpaper being so thick. So we have a stencil now, which we need for the next step. Short interruption, picking up the remaining ink from the Gelli plate. In this case, the ghost print is stronger than the first print. This print is also a very good base, but not for what I want to do here. Now I am putting the cutouts of the leaves over the areas where I'll be printing newspaper text later, and drawing some geometric lines, dividing the patterns in the background, just for some interest for the drawing later. I am showing you here how I will enhance certain areas with different hatching and lining. But at this point, my assistant got bored, so I decided to first do the newspaper printing. I am registering the wallpaper stencil face down with the print. It is important to also register one side with the Gelli plate. Showing you here. This corner has to be registered face down with this corner of the plate. Note that the cutouts do not match the printed leaves exactly. This actually makes the print more interesting. Registering only the stencil now with the right corner of the plate and putting it on face up. Now for the newspaper. I can't keep myself from marveling at these old graphics and ads. These here I will be using. A Dralon ad that promises light but yet warming underwear, stockings that are good for every day. This is the vermouth bottle. This tells us that Liz is going to be filming again in 12 days. And finally, my favorite ad for Tesafilm. I guess you know it, but if not, it is a transparent tape used for office purposes. Now I'm trying to put that little ad to one of the openings where the leaves are. I'm pressing down firmly. I take care that I press especially hard where the rims of the openings are, because the wallpaper is so thick. No further mediums acquired. The Gelli plate holds the writing to it due to its own stickiness. Repeating that with the other ads and openings. I make sure the text is not upside down, so I can read it better in the finished piece. You can feel the rims of the openings well through the thin newspaper. You can hardly see it on the Gelli plate, but you'll see it in a minute when it's printed. You can tape the registered edges together if you want to be safe. Rolling out beige acrylic paint carefully and not too thick. Putting on the wallpaper printing paper bundle. Now I rub very hard again. You can even see the openings here, although the wallpaper is so thick. Now look at this, isn't it neat? The half transparency of the acrylic paint makes it possible to still see the veins of the leaves, but to see the writing well too. The stockings, the Dralon underwear. The bottle didn't print very well. Here's Liz. And my favorite, the Tesafilm. Didn't print that well either, but hey, who's to say that you can't strengthen that a bit with graphite? I'll probably do that. One thing that's fantastic about these newspapers. After printing them, the newspaper isn't harmed at all. You can do this with some areas at least several times. Short intermezzo again. As I still see the faint leaf outlines here, I will take a ghost print. As an extra to the acrylic pickup paint, I am using some precious stuff, gold metallic medium by Liquitex. The leaves did not really turn out strong enough, but it seems a good print for what I want to show you in some other upcoming video, with today's wallpaper as a leaf stencil to get something like this maybe. So this print I will develop in part 2 of this video. It will look similar to this one that I already made but didn't film. I will develop it further with colored pencils, graphite and even collage a bit. I hope you're having fun trying this out, and remember, never be perfect. Thanks for watching, please press like if you liked it, and consider subscribing so you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. See ya!